Welcome to Secrets Behind the Stars. Before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed and have notifications on, because today's story is the kind of glittering, high-voltage drama that keeps the industry awake at night. Hello, lovers of the spotlight. Our topic is the buzziest new movie in Turkish cinema, Uykucu, and the one post that hijacked the conversation, Hazal Kaya's brief, carefully timed comment that set social media ablaze. The film already had the internet humming, thanks to the reunion of its leads. But that single line from Hazal, short, poised, loaded with subtext, floated above everything, stealing the oxygen from the room. If you're ready, let's peel back the curtain on why Hazal's sentence hits so hard, what it reveals about Barış Baktaş and Yağmur Yüksel, and how Wuku cast a spell that refuses to break. The storm started with numbers. Wuku raced out of the gate as the year's fastest riser, pulling 103,880 viewers in its first 12 hours. Those figures alone would have given the film bragging rights. The return of Barış Baktaş and Yağmur Yüksel to the same screen after time apart made it a cultural event. Online, people were everywhere. Clips, edits, reactions. The hashtag Wuku film rocketed to the top spot on Twitter, call it X if you must, and stayed there, sustained by obsessive threads dissecting Barış's brooding, shadow-wreathed firman and Yağmur's luminous yet steel-backed say. Yet the jaw-dropper didn't arrive in a box office report or a press release. It landed a few hours after the premiere, with a single post. Late that night, Hazal Kaya opened Instagram, shared a close-up from the film's artwork, and added one line beneath it, spare, elegant, and impossible to ignore. In essence, she wrote that certain tales turn mythical when entrusted to the right hands. It looked simple. It was anything but. The cadence, the timing, the choice of image, it wrapped support, admiration, and industry wisdom into a sentence designed to echo. Within minutes, the comments stacked up. Within an hour, it had become a reference point. By morning, everyone had an opinion about what Hazal meant, who she meant it for, and why she chose that particular moment to say it. Fans instantly saw a salute to Barış. They remembered how often Hazal and Barış had crossed in the same circles, festival panels, brand nights, training sessions with the same coaches, and how warmly they'd spoken of each other's work over the years. In every corner of social media, people chimed in, Hazal's class act strikes again, the most gracious nod to Barış, years in the making, yesterday's peers, today's cheerleaders, that's what real camaraderie looks like. Others read the line as a carefully aimed compliment to Yağmur. Perhaps, the right hands, were the right woman's hands, and the legend emerged because the story was shared with a partner who matched its pulse. It was, all at once, a tribute to their reunion, a recognition of their craft, and a neat bit of nostalgia for anyone who followed their rise. Of course, microphones found Hazal the moment the post went viral. True to form, she kept it warm and unpretentious. Don't make this bigger than it is, she laughed, they're both dear friends. I'm always thrilled to see them shoulder a story together. They're superb at what they do, and it shows. That unscripted, big sisterly tone was all it took for the rumor mill to slow. Still, the phrase itself, her breezy, half-teasing don't be silly, mutated into a meme. People started quoting it under unrelated content, turning it into a catchphrase for shutting down drama before it starts. It was Hazal's signature, a gentle tap on the brakes, a reminder that kindness is also power. There was another current running underneath, the past, humming in harmony with the present. When Hazal offered her salute, fans didn't just celebrate a movie hit, they revisited the genesis of a screen chemistry that once turned a melodrama into a movement. Old scenes featuring Barış and Yağmur resurfaced with fresh edits, folded into Wuku clips like a timeline you could hold in your hands. People wrote things like, "This is what grace looks like, no rivalry, only encouragement." Everyone pointed to Hazal as an example of how mature stars speak, not with competitive heat, but with recognition for peers who are raising the bar. A few critics even called her post a masterclass in industry leadership, proof that one sentence can nudge the culture toward generosity. Naturally, the words reached Barış. At a media Q&A, someone asked for his reaction to Hazal's post. He didn't hesitate. Hazal is someone I value deeply, he said. We go back years in this business. What she wrote made me smile because it came from a true place. Real friendships aren't loud, but they last. That landed like a sigh across the room, soft, sincere, exactly what people wanted to hear. Fans who cherished the early chapter of his career pounced on the line, clipped it, scored it with music, and paired it with photos of Hazal's post and the Wuku premiere carpet. Within hours, those edits were everywhere, a patchwork quilt of gratitude and shared history. And then came Yağmur's reply, brief, poised, and as composed as she is on screen. On her Twitter, she wrote a distilled thought about kindness being best expressed as support, and thanked Hazal by name. It was quietly perfect, the sort of response you'd expect from someone who knows when to let the work speak and when to amplify someone else's graciousness. Suddenly, the narrative wasn't about comparison or competition, it was about solidarity, with two leads accepting a salute and reflecting it back. People christened the triangle, Hazal, Barış, Yağmur, as a model for how the industry can look when egos recede and craft takes the front seat. One comment went viral. Yağmur's reply has the polish of a Hollywood acceptance speech, composed, heartfelt, unforgettable. In the wake of all this, the set's whispers began to surface. The director remarked, off the cuff and a little dazzled, that the charge between Furman and Say was nothing short of rare. A crew member added that in certain scenes the dialogue almost didn't matter, because the glances did the heavy lifting, the looks completed the sentence, they said, and you could tell it was real in the moment. Those accounts became the living footnote to Hazal's line about stories finding the right hands. Together, they formed a tidy truth. When a worthy script meets a team tuned to the same frequency, the result feels both retro and brand new, familiar and electric at once. Then came the hashtags. After Hazal posted, hashtag Hazal Kaya began to climb, and within hours it crested as a trending topic. Hundreds of users poured in with their take. She speaks and it trends. No one manages elegance like she does, wrote one user. Another added, the purity is the power. A single image, a single sentence, and suddenly we're all aligned. That was the magic. An act that seemed understated on its face became an amplifier for everything Wuku was already doing, stretching beyond box office lines and into the soft corners of audience feeling. So why is Wuku dominating the conversation? Beyond the data, the film delivered on craft. The narrative coils like smoke around your ankles, the sound design hovers at the edge of your nerves, and the emotions thread through action rather than pause for it. Critics called it a fresh landmark for the romantic thriller form, the kind of domestic production that moves the needle technically and thematically. Furman's darkness isn't posturing, it is lived in, full of scraped-up regret. Say isn't a foil, she's a force, tender and unyielding in the same breath. When Hazal suggested that legends emerge in the proper care, she wasn't just being sentimental. She was drawing a map of how craft, casting, and courage converge. Meanwhile, the talk shows couldn't keep away. In back rooms and green rooms, the gesture of support took on a second life. Some presenters coined phrases riffing on Hazal's name, turning her poise into shorthand for a new etiquette on screen and off. A few contrarians tried to ding the moment as a calculated bit of publicity, but that line never really caught. People could taste the sincerity, Hazal's, Barış's, Yağmur's, and once an audience believes the feeling is real, it's hard to sell them on cynicism. The entire thing functioned like a proof: generosity makes better headlines than rivalry. Hazal's standing in the industry only solidified. For years she has been that rare blend, frank without being sharp, confident without sucking the air from the room. She has kept easy, respectful ties with heavyweights like Kıvanç Tatlıtuğ and Engin Akurek, and she's always seemed to be the person others are happy to sit beside on a panel or a premiere bench. The Wuku post felt like a continuation of that brand, thoughtful, economical, and sincere. It read like a compliment, but it doubled as a thesis about how great work happens, through trust, chemistry, and the right shoulders ready to carry the weight. One critic spelled it out neatly: Hazal's sentence did the summarizing for us. In the correct custody, a potent story doesn't just land, it takes root. The line fit the film's reception perfectly, not because it was hyperbolic, but because it was true. For weeks everyone had been circling the same conclusion, then Hazal put it into a single breath. Even more telling was how the comment allowed audiences to re-experience Wuku. Viewers went back for a second screening, watching not just for the twists and reveals, but for the hush between Furman and Say, for the grit in a half-smile, for the way a hand lands on a shoulder and tells you everything you need to know. And now the question that keeps popping up, will we see Hazal Kaya, Barış Baktaş, and Yağmur Yüksel share a project one day? Officially, there's nothing cooking. Unofficially, the internet has already started placing orders. A fresh hashtag sprang up, variations of their names braided together. Where fans daydream cast lists, plot lines, and directors bold enough to catch lightning twice. People want more than a moment, they want a movement, something that lets the mentorship vibe of Hazal link arms with the raw fire of Barış and Yağmur. In their minds, it's not if, it's when. Tell us what you think. Was Hazal's post a simple note of applause, or a message from someone who recognizes greatness because she has lived alongside it? Did you read her words as a bow to Barış's haunted Furman, to Yağmur's steel silk Say, or to the alchemy they create together? Drop your take below, we read everything. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, tap like, subscribe to Secrets Behind the Stars, and ring that bell so you never miss a beat. Next time, we're unpacking fresh leaks from the Wuku set and the surprise offers now circling around Yağmur Yüksel. No breaks here, the gossip never sleeps, and neither do we. See you in the next one.